Hey, what's up everyone? Vos get up. This is Valoramous. In today's DJ tutorial, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of the baby scratch. So I believe in order to build up to higher level scratch routines, you must first work on the fundamentals. And the fundamental scratch is the baby scratch. You must master the scratch before moving on to other scratches. So a little bit of background about myself. I am a open format, top 40 hip hop, Latin, and EDM DJ. But my center of gravity is EDM because I am also an EDM dance music producer. So most of my sets are centered around electronic dance music, and then I combine open format. So by learning how to scratch, depending on what genre you are, you can really set yourself apart from others within your field. So for example, if you learn how to scratch and your center of gravity is in a field where scratching is not the primary draw to those kind of sets, such as electronic dance music, you can really set yourself apart if you know these basic fundamentals when most others in your field have not taken the time to properly learn those fundamentals. If you're a hip hop DJ, this is absolutely essential. You must know how to do this because hip hop music, which is heavily sample based, you need to know how to scratch. So without further ado, the first scratch you must learn and master is the baby scratch. So what the baby scratch is just moving the platter forward and backward on a sample. And you're moving that from the start of the sample forward and then back to the start of the sample. That's all you're doing. And you're not messing with the fader at all, or the faders. The audience is able to hear the entirety of that sample. So here's what it will sound like if you're doing this properly. Here's a baby scratch. So in order to properly learn this scratch, I'd recommend you practice with no music at all and just focus on the scratch and focus on your hand movement. So go to a previous tutorial video that I did. It's DJ tutorial number 20, and I covered the basics of hand selection, hand placement, and then also sample selection. That's very important because that is the basic fundamentals for all of these scratches. You need to nail which hand you want to use. You need to nail where you're placing your hand on the platter, maybe how many fingers you're using. That's all personal preference. And then the kind of sample that you're using. You either want to use a drum sample or a vocal sample. The vocal sample will stress the middle frequencies. A drum sample, depending on if it's a kick or a snare, will stress either low or the middle frequencies. So the scratch that I'm using is a scratch sound that you can get in free sample packs. It is heavily dominated by the middle frequencies. So practicing the scratch, all you'll need to do is just get your hand placement right. For me, it's 2 fingers. And again, I'm moving the platter from about that 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock position, and I'm just going to scratch back and forth to practice this motion. Okay, once you get comfortable with that, it will seem a bit boring at first, but trust me, once you add a beat behind this, it gets more complex because then you must stay in time with the beat in order for it to sound musically correct and rhythmically correct, because if you do not stay in time with the beat, it's just going to sound awful on stage. Adding a beat. So this beat is at 76 BPM. While that sounds slow, this is my own electronic dance music. You could interpret this in your brain as 152, but because it's 76, it's also a perfect beat. A lot of hip hop beats are around 75 to 90, sometimes up to 100 to 105. Hip hop music is great because it's not too fast and you can practice your scratching adequately. So with this beat, I'd recommend starting very slow and just doing 2 scratches every 4 beats or 1 bar. So it'll sound something like this. Okay, and then pick up the pace a bit. Maybe try 1 scratch every beat. So you have 4 scratches per bar. Okay, and then pick it up again, pick it up at double time. So now you'll have 8 scratches for every 1 bar, or 8 scratches for every 4 beats. So it'll sound like this. Okay, and there you have it. That's my quick tutorial for learning the baby scratch. Again, I recommend you start slow without any music, just get the feeling of moving that sample back and forth. And the key here is ending that baby scratch at the start of that sample so you can perform the next iteration of that scratch. And then add a beat, again, stick to a slower beat between 70 and maybe 90 BPM, and practice scratching in time. So at first you'll maybe only do 1 or 2 scratches per bar, and then you'll increase it to 1 every beat, or maybe double time. So you have either 4 scratches per 1 bar or 8 scratches per bar. Once you master the baby scratch, then you'll be ready to tackle higher level scratches such as the chirp and the stab scratch. But first master the basics before you even think about touching the crossfader. There you have it. That's my quick tutorial on the baby scratch. If you think I'm forgetting something, please leave in the comments below. If you like this content, like to see more, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.